Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jason Fortier. I'm an account manager on the Defense Services team, and I'm joined by my colleagues Andrew King and Thomas Warner, both solution engineers here at Esri. The topic of today's webinar is optimizing defense facility operations through dynamic geospatial services. The ArcGIS platform has enabled users to move beyond creating static maps and managing data in container silos. With so much data and so many tools, how can the right information be available to decision makers in a timely manner to meet operational requirements and provide understanding? In this webinar, we will demonstrate how optimizing data services can enhance collaboration between GIS professionals, facility managers, and operational leadership. We will witness how these services can bridge the gap between information needs, untapped data, and tools. We will leverage the rich suite of capabilities in ArcGIS Enterprise to share facility data, enrich processes, improve operational effectiveness, and provide leadership the information needed to make decisions. We begin with a collaboration between the facility manager, played by Andrew, and the GIS professional, played by Thomas. They're developing a process to visualize a multitude of construction projects, enable the facility manager to monitor progress, and assess impacts to the installation. It is not uncommon for communities of practice to have data that may not necessarily be spatial enabled, such as spreadsheets and CAD files. In this first scenario, the GIS professional will leverage ArcGIS Pro to spatially enable a facility manager's new as-built data and make this data accessible to the manager through ArcGIS Enterprise Portal.
Hello, Thomas.
Hey Andrew, how you doing?
Good, good. I'm actually wondering if you could help me out. I have a new as-built drawing for building 4035.
Yeah, the engineering building, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I finally got my hands on the CAD files. It's actually a set of CAD files, and here I can share my screen. So I was just wondering here, you can see that we obviously have the footprint and the rooms, and there's actually some other building, or I'm sorry, room level details. I was wondering if we could capture that and get that inside of the GIS.
Yeah, I can do that. Do you want all four floors of the building, or do you just want the remodeled section?
No, honestly, if we could get all 4 floors, that would be great. And ultimately, I would love to have this data be accessible to the stakeholders working in this project.
Okay, yeah. How about this? Since you'd like it to be easily shareable, I could push the data to our organizational portal and set it up in a web app where we can flip through the floors and have a interactive map for you.
That sounds great.
Excellent. Well, send over the data and I'll get started.
Perfect.
I've brought Andrew's drawing back into AutoCAD and have updated the layers so that they fit correctly into our building schema. Now I've also ensured that the vector line work is all connected correctly, so not to upset any GIS conversion. With that done, I can use the ArcGIS extension ArcGIS for AutoCAD and bring up a base map and ensure that the building is georeferenced properly. And zooming out and seeing that it is, and everything looks good as far as this CAD file is concerned, I can now bring this into ArcGIS Pro and start creating a map. Here in ArcGIS Pro, all I have to do is simply drag and drop the CAD file into our display. You can note that when it comes in, it's not actually in a GIS format. So to convert it over, we're going to use a tool called CAD to Geodatabase. And this is going to convert the CAD file into a proper GIS format. Now that I've converted the CAD file and it's now in a GIS format, I can bring it into a map and start delineating the spaces within the floor plan by their specific use type via the symbology using unique values and the use type field. I've also added feature classes that we have on hand for employees and points of interest in the building as well. These feature services can be updated via a model I created. That looks complicated, but basically updates and calculates the attribution into the fields of the building schema where needed. Now that my map is correctly put together, I can share it to the web and start creating a web application that can be shared with everyone within the organization.
Hello, Andrew.
Hey, Thomas, how are you?
Doing good, doing good. So I've got the link for the new web app for Building 4035. I'll share it to you and you can go ahead and bring it up.
Yeah, that'd be perfect. Let me share my screen here. So what do we have here?
So we have the building and we have several not applications, but filters and widgets that you can use with it. That first one over to the left, the little filter looking one, yeah, exactly. That's going to be our floor filter, and you can do a drop down, select a floor, hit apply, and instantly that floor comes up.
Perfect. That's exactly what we were looking for. Excellent. What do the colors of the rooms mean?
Well, if you go over to the legend on the right, upper right, it's the first icon. Yep, that one right there. You'll see that we've delineated the areas and spaces within the building to reflect the use type.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, this is great.
Good, good. And then over to the further right is our actual list of layers. And if you select the point of interest and people, they will populate each floor. And now we know where people are and where some points of interest are as well. And you can select one of those and they'll bring up some information about each one.
Oh, perfect. It's got all the supporting details that I was asking about. That's
Yeah,
great.
yeah, yeah. Good, good. So with that, I know that, again, we're refurbishing a area within this engineering building. So if we go back over to the left to those widgets, that second one right there, yep, that's our smart editor. And what we can do with that is add any of the points of interest or people once we start moving those into the new area. And so we can instantly just start bringing in new data as when that area is finished.
Awesome. I can go ahead and just assign myself to this nice corner office right here.
Moving on up, great.
Yeah, exactly right. All right. And what's this last widget?
The last widget is a measuring tool, so we can get area and lengths within the building as well.
Oh, perfect. Let me figure out what my square footage of this new office is. What we at? Just under 100 square feet. Not too bad. Not too bad at all.
It's pretty nice size office for sure.
Perfect. Well, I tell you what, this is simple and to the point and exceeds my expectations. Exactly what the team needs to get going.
Glad you
I
like it.
I just have one final question. Is there any way that we could lock this down? I don't want people fighting over rooms and spaces before we're really ready to make those assignments.
Certainly, certainly. So what I'll do is I'll hand this application over to you and create a new group for you where you can we can lock it down so only the people that you invite would be able to view any of the applications or feature services within that group. And then when you're ready to show it to the whole organization, you'll have that opportunity to open up that group as well.
Awesome. I think the project team's going to love this. I can't say thank you enough, Thomas.
Great to hear. Talk to you soon.
All right, bye.
In Demo 1, as a result of their collaboration, the facility manager has access to a space management application that contains as-built data integrated into a common operational picture or standard data model and gains awareness of building status. We will now demonstrate how optimization can be achieved through workflows by leveraging this new dynamic data capability to analyze requirements for the installation commander's utility resiliency initiatives.
Hello, Thomas.
Hey, Andrew, long time no see.
Back again. As you've probably been hearing, there's a lot of talk going on about the installation and our energy consumption, and they want to know this. They, being our leadership, wants to know this, not just at the overarching installation scale, but I'm getting a lot of questions about the individual building scale as well. I was just kind of curious, is there a way we can combine that, building data with that utility data in an application, that would allow me to dig a little bit deeper into those details about the energy?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked because I was just working on something, and I'll go ahead and share my screen here real quick. I've taken the time to add all the corresponding electrical data to our data schema. As you can see right here, we have electrical condition, inspection condition, age, replacement cost, expectancy, and as well as if we're meeting our targets or not. And
Oh,
this,
great.
yeah, this is all intermixed with the facility data as well as optimal benchmarks for all building types.
So you're saying I'd be able to kind of see both the facility, square footage, type, and all that kind of stuff right next to the actual specific utility data? That would, I mean, that would be great.
Yeah,
That's basically, allowing us to see a more comprehensive picture, to better understand what's going on.
that's correct, Andrew. So now that I've organized the data, I can use this analysis application, Insights, that's on our organizational enterprise portal, and it will display the data that we already have, and we'll be able to dig a little deeper into that data as well. What I've created here is, again, I'm displaying all of the data, and this is basically similar to the map that you saw behind the table contents in ArcGIS Pro, but this is all of our facility condition data for electrical only. If I zoom a little bit out, you'll see a little bit more of the data in the cards that are corresponding to that data. We have average condition, which also has a target that is set by our command at 86, and we can see that we're not really hitting that at this moment. Our electrical age, our morning, afternoon, evening, and night, and max occupancy as well. We have our inspection dates and how much we've been inspecting throughout the years. You can see that dip in 2020. I'm sure you know what that was from, as well as our facility divisions and use types, and our source EIUs and target EIUs, which is our energy unit indicators, and how our targets match up to what we're actually using per year. Now, these are all great indicators, and it gives us a pretty good common operating picture, right? But I can select on a individual building, and you can see that all of these cards that I just mentioned update to show me the individual characteristic of that building. Electrical age of 19, condition of 63, max occupancy, and so on, which is really great, right? I think that that's something that you would need, but we can also do, we can go to the division and look at just the facilities, or excuse me, the offices, and see where they're located. We can get their average condition, all their occupancies, and as well look at their source and target EUIs as well. So it's just a great way to really hone down on specific either facilities, use types, or divisions, and see a common operating picture with each one of those item types.
That's super interesting. I really like how you can bring in separate data sources and display them in ways that are actually meaningful. I'm just kind of curious, what other kind of questions can you answer with this type of data, with this type of application?
Cool. Well, yeah, we have a condition and efficiency page, and these are just the two that I've already started. I mean, we can go deeper into this, but this aggregates the same data source, but really gives more context to it. So again, with our inspections, we have we can see the monthly as well as the year and see where those intensities are happening within this heat map and at what months we've really focused in on inspections, as well as if we're meeting our target or not, uh, how many buildings are not hitting that target, and we can, as we did on the last page, see those cards update as well. We have our electrical age and building type by condition, as well as our electrical replacement costs by building type. And you can see that each one of these has the same color code, so they match up and they're easily visible and recognizable as well. If I wanted to hone into something deeper, let's say that I'm noticing that it looks like the housing is really getting up in age. We can take a look at, the housing and that specific age range and see what type of outcomes we can come up with. So I'll go ahead and look at our building type and select housing. As well as a new filter for the age. And we'll go ahead and set that to at least 25. Hit apply. And now when I hit the ones that we are not meeting targets for, we can see that that is specifically our housing, and that we can get a idea of, where those buildings are. We can look at the inspections and when they have been inspected. But most of all, we can see that we have a replacement cost of almost $2 million.
Now, this is valuable information. So you're saying I can bring this up and show others in a meeting and interact with the data live in front of everyone?
Yeah, that's correct. And if there's other data that you want to add to this application, or if you want me to build any more charts or cards, I can do that too. However, this data is editable, and I want to keep it under my username for responsibility reasons. But there are ways that we can create applications that have a set of boundaries for others to use that can manipulate the data within that application.
Oh, great. That's nice to hear. It'd be really nice if we had some type of application on our portal that I could use to build out like a scenario in front of people.
Well, actually, I have something for you. I'll go ahead and share my screen real quick. Here we have a dashboard that does just that. It creates scenarios from your manipulation of the data that we were the same data that we were just using within that Insights application.
Saving the best for last, I see.
Well, again, I know that my review for the year is up, and I just want to make sure that I get my proper marks.
Smart man.
So on the left here, we have the building list, which shows all the, goes through every building that's within our installation. The color code is the actual condition of that building, the electrical condition of that building. We have our total occupancy, and with other indicators, the sum of the facilities, the electrical replacement costs, whether it meets our targets or not, as well as how many have been inspected within the last 5 years. We have our condition, as well as the life expectancy. Up here, we have selectors in which we can actually start manipulating the data. So why don't I go ahead and share this with you, and you can give it a run.
Perfect. Thanks for sending that link over. So
Absolutely.
I just wanted to kind of run through a scenario. Our command's really interested in finding the buildings that are not meeting the net zero targets.
Mm-hmm.
And we were also given about $1 million this year to reduce our energy costs on posts. So,
Oh, excellent.
there were a few criteria they outlined, which you already have on here. So first off, we're really only concerned with, buildings that are 50% mission dependent or more.
Mm,
And the other thing is we wanted to completely just ignore housing altogether to get more bang for the buck. And wow, just like that, it completely filtered out the buildings there.
absolutely.
What's this rectangle on the side here?
Yeah, I forgot to tell you that there's more selectors over here as well in data filters.
Oh, great. So this is like the actual energy data.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. So, if I just filter out, we're obviously only interested in those facilities that are not compliant. And we're, best to focus in on electrical condition that is fairly low. And there we go. We're already below that $1 million mark. Let's see if we can kind of get it a little bit closer. Yeah, I'd say that's pretty darn close from my perspective.
Very nice.
And the main thing we were really concerned about, and our leadership was concerned about, is how many facilities can be impacted. Can we stay below that $1 million budget, and ultimately how many people are impacted, which you actually even have down here represented by total occupancy. So 5,824 people work in these buildings. That's really awesome. So what is this right here then?
Again, that's the list of all the buildings that are going to be impacted by the stringent criteria that you just created.
Oh, that's excellent. So it's kind of giving us a priority list that we could work with and show our command.
Absolutely.
Wow. All right. I'm really starting to see the power of these web applications, and I really can't wait to get this in front of our leadership.
I can't wait to hear back on how they receive it.
In this second scenario, we see the versatility of ArcGIS Enterprise. Whether it's tracking everyday facility status or supporting the organization's decision makers, the GIS professional is no longer alone in their ability to make GIS products and has empowered others to manipulate data and create their own information products via web maps, apps, and dashboards to support mission requirements. In this third and final scenario, we will demonstrate just how interoperable the ArcGIS platform can be by extending its capabilities to connect to other organizational systems of record, such as a spatially enabled data repository, real property inventory, SCADA, etc. The facility's Public Works Department has currently installed IoT sensors on some of the newer buildings' utility meters in support of a proof of concept for the Commander's Utility Resiliency Initiative. The facility manager and GIS professional will now discuss how optimization can be achieved through the interoperability of dynamic third-party IoT sensors and ArcGIS Enterprise.
Hey, Andrew, how you doing?
Hey, Thomas, how are you?
Doing well, doing well. So the reason why I called is I was thinking, wait, are we always wearing the same clothing when we're talking?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay, okay. So I was thinking about our monthly meeting that we had a couple weeks ago with the commander and how he talked about the new energy initiative and how we have started to connect SCADA sensors to our utility meters in some of the newer buildings. And this led me to start tinkering with ArcGIS, the ArcGIS ecosystem as a way to display that data coming in and visualize not only the real-time data, but the historical data as well. So would you like to see what I've come up with?
Yeah, let's see it.
All right. So now that we've added the new IoT sensors to the electric meters, we can also use ArcGIS to show electrical data in real time and compare it to historical metrics. Here we have a dashboard that is showing us energy utilization on campus in real time, focusing on kilowatts and kilowatt hours. And we can now visualize that SCADA data coming right in.
Huh? How is that happening?
Well, what we're doing is using GeoEvent server to easily ingest this data from third-party SCADA data, which I love saying SCADA data, and write to both real-time and archive feature services for further analysis. So the dashboard that I've created gives us those metrics that inform us if we are above or below historic energy costs, average kilowatt per square footage, current kilowatts, and kilowatt hours, as well as percentage of threshold currently being consumed throughout the installation. Additionally, you can visualize this through a timeline and live data as well as historic data. And we can drill down to specific meters and see the live data update in real time as we select each individual meter and getting that specific data come across within our dashboard. So I really believe that this will help us increase accountability and understand where we could save money on poorly performing and outlier buildings. And, really ultimately, it could assist us in creating a more sustainable campus.
Oh, wow. And being able to drill down into the specific meters is really beneficial, and being able to compare the historic versus the live data, now that's something I haven't been able to do in the past. Honestly, this is a more meaningful way of seeing the data.
Yeah, I agree. And we've been creating a lot of new applications and generating a good amount of data lately. And one of the things I've been feeling is I felt that we needed some type of application that gives us a greater overview of our data as well as a hosting area for applications that allow us to dig deeper into this data, like this dashboard right here.
Well, what do you mean? What would that look like?
Oh, let me show you. I've created this overview using ArcGIS Experience Builder, which is a completely out of the box application. What we have at the top here is the commander's key indices that he's interested in. Underneath that, we have areas of interest like facility and housing, utilities, planning and development that are geared towards managers like yourself. And as I drill down in the utilities, you see the dashboard that's embedded into this that can be launched from here, as well as these quick metric cards for water system metrics and electrical metrics. As you see, as I go right over these, as I just click or just wheel over them, we get these quick metrics that are live and update as the data updates. And if I select the access to a new experience builder that is specific to our electrical data. And again, I have that real live data that's updatable, and it gives me those metrics to understand where we are in any current situation. Below that, I have these cards that jump us to our applications that we created a couple weeks ago. As you can see, I'm sure you remember the dashboard. And now we're really drilling down from that overall view into a specific application. So back in the campus overview in the facility and housing section, we have our installation building data on display, from facility age and condition to building use type by square footage and space utilization. All this data is interactive and live and updatable. Next, over here on the building list, we can search through specific buildings, 4035. I can select this building and bring up that web application that I created earlier for the refurbishing of the engineering building.
Hey, now you're speaking my language. A one-stop shop or gateway to all the data and applications I need, or heck, our leadership needs to make informed decisions. And the fact that this data is dynamically driven is a real plus for our daily operations.
I'm glad you like it.
In this final scenario, the commander now has infographics that can display the history and current output of electricity usage of the facilities identified within the proof of concept. Leveraging ArcGIS Experience Builder allowed the GIS professional to provide access to high-level facility data and origin points for embedded applications that are specific to an area of interest. Now, facility operations, program managers, and senior leadership have understanding through dynamic information products. In this webinar, we've seen just a few examples of how dynamic services can be leveraged to optimize facility operations by moving geospatial information much more quickly into the decision-making pipeline. Today's takeaway isn't just for the GIS professional, it's for all those that need access to data sets and tools to gain understanding. Esri understands organizations have users with different roles, responsibilities, and knowledge sets. Through ArcGIS Enterprise, users are enabled to converse, collaborate, and move from traditional information products to a variety of dynamic services to perform their work. Whether it's data, a viewer, or a web application, growing these services will bring location intelligence to your organization and provide critical insight for decision making. Thank you for joining us today. We will now take your questions. Hello, everyone. Thanks again for joining, and I hope that you have found this webinar informative. Andrew, Thomas, we have a couple of questions from the audience. Are you with me?
We are, yes.
Great. First question is, in demo 1, you used an extension in AutoCAD before bringing the data into GIS. What is that extension, and does it cost something?
So that extension was ArcGIS for AutoCAD, and it is free to download and install into your AutoCAD.
Your mic's above your head.
Did catch that, Thomas?
Sorry.
Try again.
Yes, that program is ArcGIS for AutoCAD and is free to download and install into your AutoCAD program, and can connect you to your organizational portal to bring in feature services from your content or others that are shared within that organization, as well as base maps, and be able to assign a specific type of coordinate system to your CAD file as well.
And that's on the AutoCAD side, but we actually have a great question in the chat here. So any special extension required if you're inside a Pro?
Not at all. We can just, as I showed you, within AutoCAD, we can bring in, just simply bring in the CAD file, and using the tools that are already within ArcGIS Pro, port that over into a GIS format using the CAD to GIS dataset tool.
And any functionality inside of ArcMap to help with that? Going old school.
I believe the same extent, or the same tool is there to be used, and for the same type of structure. So it's that was directly ported from ArcMap into AutoCAD or ArcGIS Pro.
Perfect. Thanks, Thomas.
Great. Another question here. Everything that was discussed in the webinar was 2D. Can users work in 3D?
Yeah, I mean, I'll take the first run of this question. So yes, inside of ArcGIS Pro, you're absolutely capable to work with Revit files, which is the 3D version of CAD. You could view it that way. So there are absolutely tools available to help with that conversion. And once that data is converted, you can absolutely post that data as services inside of your web environment, whether that's ArcGIS Online or ArcGIS Enterprise. Anything to add there, Thomas?
Absolutely. Well, yeah, there's just a couple things. One, similar to what you would do with a CAD file, you can create a geodata set with your Revit file. You can also create a more simplistic layer set that can be utilized up in the web that takes or doesn't it kind of deflates and what am I thinking of? What's the word I'm looking for? Collapses the all of the data into a singular form that is easily manipulatable still, but is also smaller in size. So it's much easier to manipulate well up in the web.
Yeah, to Thomas's point, these Revit files are typically, pretty beefy. There's just a lot of detail, a lot of data there. So you're exactly right. We can simplify that and interact with that data at an easier point.
Great. All right. Well, are there any other questions from the audience at this time? All right. Well, this kind of concludes what we're the webinar today. Ricklin, I'm handing it back to you. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for attending today's session. We kindly ask that you take a moment to complete the survey at the close of the webinar. If you enjoyed today's session, please check out the newest Defense webinar series, and I will right now put the link in the chat. There it is. But once again, thank you for attending today's session, and that concludes today's presentation.